Welcome to a full review of the all-new generation of the Skoda Octavia vRS, or just RS as we say in Germany. We're going to take you on a detailed tour, exterior, interior and the performance driving experience, what's different to the predecessor, and also how does it behave to the siblings VW Golf, Seat Leon and the Audi A3. We'll fill you in with all the details, as you know, in Full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! Here in the front, the new vRS generation. vRS you say in the UK, or in Germany you just say RS. You can see here sportier, lower bumper, especially for this version. Black frame around the grille, black fins on the inside, vRS logo. But in general also the normal Octavia is a little bit wider, a little bit longer, but hasn't changed so much. But definitely a nice integration once again of these headlamps. Yeah, unlike the facelift version of the predecessor generation, which had the split then here I think a very nice and fluent design. LED would be standard, the matrix LED otherwise optional, but here in the RS version it is already standard as well. And also a nice daytime running light, power dome accentuation, so a nice sporty looking front, not too much over the top, but it's also about this vehicle. It still shall be integrated in your everyday driving life. That's exactly what it's doing. 4.70 m, 15'4" or 185 inches is the length of the new Octavia generation. Hasn't changed that much. And here in the vRS or RS trim, you can see here, it usually comes with 18-inch wheels in Germany as standard. These here with winter tires look a little bit more balloonish, would be more spectacular with summer tires. And in the UK, even 19-inch is standard, which would here then be an option. Then sportier lower spoiler. The color for today is called Velvet Red. Special metallic color, 600 euros extra, but very beautiful, strong red color. And here the fastback design for the so-called hatch. But there's still also the Estate available, the Combi as the RS. So depending on which form you like. Here you can see with a nice rear wing lip. So design-wise, this is here my favorite. The Combi, of course, a little bit more practical. What's your take? And the petrol with a mechanical differential lock in the front, whereas the IV, the plug-in hybrid RS and the diesel come with an electronic differential lock on the front. By the way, when I say Skoda, it's closer to the original Czech pronunciation. You know that in English-speaking countries you always hear Skoda, for example, but as a tribute to the origin of this vehicle, we stay with Skoda. Here you can see the RS version has this black spoiler lip. Usually I like a more subtle design, but here I think it's very well integrated, and together also with the black Skoda lettering right there, it fits very well. Black Octavia lettering here too. New modern signature here in the rear is also beautifully done, and a contrasting black lower area here. So this rear, especially the rear three-quarter perspective, I think one of the most beautiful things about this vehicle. And also where this one here, the hatch version, is more beautiful than the Combi, than the Estate. I think, when you think differently, would like to hear your comments about that. And then in the lower part, this is a case for the Autogefühl fake exhaust police, because, you know, the outer tip is really very large. At least the real exhaust goes through there, but definitely tiny in comparison to what we see on the exterior. Thank you Skoda for giving us the gas struts to hold the engine bay open, unlike in the all-new Golf 8. Today here the pure petrol engine, 2-liter 4-cylinder, 245 horsepower, 6.7 seconds is the acceleration figure, but it's also available as a plug-in hybrid than the 1.4-liter turbo petrol engine, also 245 horsepower, but 7.3 seconds, so definitely way slower. Just in acceleration close is the TDI, 2-liter TDI, 200 horsepower, 6.8 seconds, and that one is optionally also available with all-wheel drive. This is the car key, high gloss black. Yeah, you see here, prone to scratches indeed. Then the door closing sound. It's okay, but not as good as in the Golf indeed. Then inside of the doors, soft touch here and also with nice structure. That looks really cool. Then we also have microfiber on the inside of the doors right here. Canton sound system, which offers a decent sound. Not the best one we've heard, although but quite nice. vRS entry badge. Also aluminum pedals. And then here the steering wheel, perforated sides, flat bottom, and again a vRS logo. And then our friends from UK might say, yeah, we are right calling it vRS and not the Germans that just say RS. RS is shorter though, but no idea why the markets call it in a different way. Strange, right? Also in here the vRS logo at the seats. The seat form is always the same here, we know, with the accentuated shoulders and so on, but the base seat would come in a so-called thermoflux material, a pure fabric on the inside, which is supposed to be the most breathable material. Looking forward to test that one at a later stage. This one here, optional microfiber package, which looks fancy, but it wouldn't look too different though, also with red contour stitches and so on. But here then, when you go for the microfiber package, you also have some animal skin parts automatically with it. And that's of course not necessary, and it's also just an extra price. So just stick with the base seat. Getting inside, don't forget the famous shoe tab to leave the interior at least a little cleaner. So it's a very good seating position. Here the sport seat, they also give you enough room, yet at the same time they also give you support. Good seating position also for tall people. Steering wheel with the manual control, in and out, up and down, smooth, and also very good to adjust. Very wide ways. The electric function is an option for the seat. Usually it would come standard with the manual seat control. Of course, really helpful here to adjust it while driving, for example. However, you see, it's not a must-have, but the good thing is memory seating, set 1 and 2. This is of course a helpful thing if you use it with 2 drivers. So once again, feeling very nice and collected right here. When you turn on the ignition and also close the door, there's also this comfort feature that the seat moves forward and backward to get in and out easier. As for the headroom, right here, 1m86 or 6'1", leaves still a lot of headroom. Option, you can also go with a panoramic roof. Interior overview is a very nice and central layout here with this carbon fiber-alike structure here and nice microfiber inserts. Soft touch dashboard with a good structure as well. So really high class, and the look is really clean. Again, here the compact sporty steering wheel. Digital instrument standard 10.25 inch. Right side with the normal Octavia style with 8.25 inch screen, but here optional or standard for the RS is this 10-inch screen, the center one on the right. This is a volume slider, not as good as for the look and feel. And the temperature is controlled here, unlike in the Golf where you have these temperature sliders. But still, to control it while driving, not that good. You can also use the voice control, for example. Set temperature to 22 degrees.
Sure.
So that works, so that would be one alternative to do that. But the voice input is not the most natural one, however. Zoom or to both of the screens. Here you can set some hotkeys. Here's a climate hotkey, here's the mode for the driving mode, for example. But then you always have to click in the display once again to confirm it actually. Steering wheel on the right side has assistance systems control. Here with this slider then you can actually change it in the menu. On the left side you have steering wheel heating, you have the volume control, for example. And then lower area, inductive charging pad for your phone, but you can also connect it with a cable. You have a Carplay and with Auto, then depends on either with cable or wireless. Both is possible actually. DSG shifting lever here, there's no mechanical link, so the transitions between drive mode and reverse are faster than before. That's actually quite good, and also slim integration. Then you have this insert here for a smartphone, for example, or just the normal adaptive cup holders. And this armrest here can be folded up, well attached, and then some more space underneath. Digital instruments look like this, and you can also see the RPMs going up, yeah, like this. You also have a torque meter if you want to have that, but you can also change what you want to see. For example, here in the right gauges, or then also here in the left gauges, whatever. And you can also change the whole view, for example. So if you rather prefer that, to have it with the assistance systems here, or then with a map all over the place. This is the big advantage of these digital instruments. And the small help display is clear to read. It's directly projected into the windscreen, most of the time for the speed or for the loud speed, and also some GPS info if you have a route set. In more details to the screens, here the driving mode selection. Here we have the optional DCC for today, dynamic chassis control, the adaptive suspension. And when you hit the climate hotkey, you get here either smart AC or the classic AC, where you can set everything individually. But you see the loading times of this display. It takes quite a time. The display service is also not my most favorite. The visualization is not that up to date, and it could definitely be also more responsive overall. This is the main menu like this. See it right here. Temperatures, volume slider in the lower part. Temperature once again right here. There you can see Apple Carplay integration is actually quite nice. Let's listen to the sound here. Canton sound system is okay, it's decent, but not that rich, the sound, I would say. Not that voluminous, so to speak. Here they have the integration. Most of the time you would probably use that. Then here the home screen. Again, there were systems, but the thing is that everything is a little bit slower than before, because hardware and software is not very much optimized. But overall, you still have an overview of what you are doing. And one more look at that rear view camera, like this. And the resolution is okay, not the best one, not the worst one, but I think you'll just get along with it. Sometimes also here again, it takes a while to load. Rear compartment, you have hard pack material here. However, this is in a nice structure, and then you also have these shades here, manual shades in there. And the good thing about the Octavia in general, that you always have a lot of legroom in the rear. So even if you're driving with tall adults, no problem, still legroom left. However, these sport seats are a little bit more voluminous. So in comparison to the normal Octavia, you have a little bit less legroom right here. Some bags for smartphones and so on. Middle part with the climate unit, seat heating available for the outside seat, 2 USB-C chargers, and a real 230 volt supply. That's also well done. And there is of course a middle tunnel here for stability reasons, but also you can also get it with all-wheel drive with the diesel. Seeing in the middle part here is somewhat possible, but not really comfortable, especially because it's more laid out on a single seating layout here meanwhile for the rear. And then here we can fold out some cup holders, non-adaptive though, but you can also use a ski hatch like this. And you can already fold the seats from here. However, it's more practical to do that from the trunk. Well, if there's a trunk that goes in full screen and full length, it's this one here. 600 liters up to 1,555 liters without the replacement tire. Really square area. This one here is this rubber mat. I can make things a little bit dirtier, no problem, but you can also take it out completely. And then this is then the normal trunk area. You see here, all the stuff fits in very, very easily. Really square dimensions, pretty cool. You also have some additional features like these hangers here on the side. And you also have this feature here where you can put in smaller stuff, for example. Do you really need it? Is it really that useful? I don't know. Sometimes it's also a little bit annoying to have these things in the trunk, depends on. And then you can also fold the seats from here, like this, and pull it out here that you can look all the way through. But yeah, let's use this for a second, like this, and take this, oh god. So, and then you have the full length available. Indeed, the normal length of the trunk, let's do some measures. This is a meter, this is a meter in width. And the normal length of the trunk up to this step here is almost 1 meter and 10. And considering it's on a compact car platform, here the total length of the trunk to the seats I would be driving is 1 meter 85, and that's a very good result. And one more time, take a look at this hatch opening. That's what I mean by that it's not that much less practical when you compare it to the Estate, to the Combi. So you can very well have a good compromise between the visual part of a sedan and this fastback opening here. What about the child safety test? Let's take a look here. Yeah, very well done. Welcome to Thomas's Active Driving Lounge, Skoda Octavia vRS, or just RS as we call it in Germany. We go to the driving modes, sports mode, that turns also the sound actuator on, so we hear more on the interior, more than the car would actually really do. But it will sound quite nice, I can promise to you. And we start at about 40 kilometers an hour, and we'll just accelerate it all out here on the German motorway. Autogefühl, Autobahn experience. Let's go. Well, that's 200 kilometers an hour or 125 miles an hour. So pretty quick. Nice sound also, good acceleration, 245 horsepower, and I think we can easily live with that. Lane change at higher speeds, really stable here in the sports mode. The DCC is also tuned a little bit sportier, giving us more resistance. Really precise steering feeling, that's one of my favorite things about this vehicle. And this car has a very good and neutral balanced handling, so it feels very calm, collected, not heavy and super sophisticated, but more in this compact segment. You feel it's a compact platform, although the size is rather already mid-size. But it just gives you a feeling of, I can easily handle and control this vehicle. And that's the cool thing about the Octavia RS. Now on the brakes, yeah, good performance. Also very good brake feeling, so I also like that. And just tell me in the comments if you like that sound here from the sound actuator on the interior. I think you could also, see the digital number here from the display going up. I think the acceleration was actually quite nice. Once again, lane change here, 80 kilometers an hour, good noise insulation that has been improved in this new generation, I think. Now heading to a tunnel. And yeah, because here we cannot hear so much from the outside. Not sure if that makes so much sense then to lower the window. Let's see. Also shift down the gear with the pedals or two. Yeah, it's actually nothing much we hear from the exterior. So now in comparison, when I just do it here on the interior again with closed windows, you actually hear more. So that's the thing about reducing sound in the exterior and using sound actuators on the interior. And I mean, we can understand that if we sit inside the car, we found it pretty cool. But when we're sitting out in the garden, want to relax, and someone else is driving past, it's always a matter of perspective. And then you think like, is that really necessary? So yeah, definitely an aspect. Again, good motorway vehicle as well. These sport seats here from the form do a good job. Going back to the normal mode, and you can also, for example, set cruise control and just relax a little bit more. In this case, I turn off the lane assist because soon we're going to have some more sporty corners and so on. This will be a lot of fun, definitely. I'm getting off here on the motorway on the second. It's a nice, nice exit of the motorway where you can also stress the speed a little bit more. And once again, the car feels really balanced. Look at that here. So I feel really centralized in the car. I feel it's not too heavy. It's again weight-wise based on this compact platform. That's definitely very cool. If you think about the comparison to Seat Leon, for example, I mean they have the same wheelbase now, so they are pretty much the same. The Golf as hatch does feel sportier, same to the A3 because they both have the short wheelbase. And then the Golf as variant, as the Estate, has again the same longer wheelbase than the Octavia here. So they feel also quite similar. So all these siblings, they don't differ so much. It's more really about the interior design, something of the user interface that is different. And of course, big difference when you have the Octavia or the Leon and go for up to 150 horsepower. You have the weaker rear axle, the one that is less sophisticated, less comfortable, so to watch out for that. However, if you have more than 150 horsepower with the Skoda Octavia or the Seat Leon, then you have the more elaborated rear axle that the Golf and the A3 already have with the 150 horsepower versions. So always look out for that. But since this one here is 245 horsepower, we do have the better rear axle, and you also do feel that while driving. Although I have to say that the DCC here, being in normal mode, could be a little bit more forgiving and comfortable. You have to remind that the vRS sits a little bit lower and has a stiffer suspension setup even already in the normal mode. When you put it then to the sports mode, it's even a little bit lower and stiffer. Here at the traffic light, I'm jumping back to the sports mode once again, because remember, this has here front wheel drive. And when you accelerate out, there's always the question, how does it feel, you know, when you accelerate hard and you're steering at the same time? Is it feeling a little bit weird? Is it doing massive understeering and so on? And then with performance cars, the manufacturers go with these limited slip differentials to reduce the difference then between the inside and the outside wheel. Yeah, and let's see how that one turns out. So a good test when the traffic light jumps to green now. I'll be gentle and put the turning indicator first so that everyone knows. But it's a arrow traffic light, so everyone knows I'm right, left. Yeah. Oh, nice. Really nice. Very collected, very smooth, no understeering at all. Of course, I could have floored it all out with throttle, but that doesn't make any sense. Really cool. So it's a lot of fun to drive this vehicle. Once again, this is what this car has always been about. You have a car on the interior that has a lot of usability. You have a lot of space for your family and so on. But you can, especially when you're then alone, it's like, you know, family's gone and you hit the motorway. You don't have to pay attention to anyone else but yourself. And of course, you can have even more fun and just floor it out a little bit if you're allowed to. Here in Autogefühl, we also don't exceed the speed limit. Still need my driver's license for obvious reasons. And here now, after this tunnel is finished, we can accelerate it out to unlimited speed once again. Also have a nice corner ahead at high speed. So I'll already go back to the sports mode. And I think this is really what this car is still about, to integrate a sporty, fun driving experience into an everyday driving life situations. And this is what this car is really doing very, very well. And to me, still more useful than going for a separate sports car. So now we are going from 80 kilometers an hour. We are already at speed. Let's see. Let's go. Look at that. Really nice here in the corner. Hooking up to the road. Good control. Nice balanced feeling. The sport seats also keep me tight as I have a good seating form, good comfort as well. I'll be a little bit careful passing those vehicles. Again, 200 kilometers, 125 miles an hour. Also good noise insulation. It's not too loud in here, considering for that speed. Now lane change at high speed, really collected and calm. Once again, yeah, great handling of this vehicle. I'm very satisfied with that. Really, really satisfied. And to me, also then compared to the predecessor, that feels a little bit more elaborated, a little bit more sophisticated. So you feel that the hardware has been, you know, updated in an evolutionary way. So once again, I can say that the same verdict also I always say about the new Golf generations, hardware-wise. So really, really good. The platform is excellent. The handling is excellent. The engineering work is excellent. But the software work, it's somewhat okay what we saw and experienced here today, but still, when a GPS takes like 4 times, 5 times as long to load than it has done before, then you ask yourself, what have they been doing? You know, why can't you just improve a vehicle? Why does something always have to be worse than the predecessor generation? Once again, here from traffic light, a little bit slip from front wheels. It's of course different when you have an all-wheel drive vehicle, but again, good performance accelerating out. And now we're going up Autogefühl's performance peak. Take a look at the steering input here. A little bit wet road. Careful cyclist. Shifting back, good control of the vehicle once again. Just look ahead in the corners. Once again, it's very neutral handling, very balanced. Don't have to shift down yourself. The sports mode keeps it in lower gear. And this also works driving uphill. Anytime when you think you want to accelerate a little bit more, even from a lower gear, then you just use the shifting pedal. For example, like here now, just shift down myself. And you can also keep it in the lower gear if you know like the next corner is ahead here or something. Like this, don't have to shift up then. Although the road is wet, not too much wheel spin from the front wheels. Third gear now. This is so much fun. This is what this car is about. Just finish your groceries and then you go to your favorite roads and then have a little bit of more, a little bit of fun. Second gear now, hairpin corner ahead, left. Let's see, a little bit sliding out. Careful. So once more. Yeah, very well done. One more nice tight right corner here. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Yeah, here in this situation now, a little bit power was lacking here because we only have the 2-liter engine. But overall, I think for most use cases, such a fun everyday driving car. And now to more everyday driving aspects of the Skoda Octavia RS or vRS. So the suspension here is still set on a stiffer tone, also a little bit lower, so you do feel it in everyday driving life here with the 18-inch winter tires, which should be even softer actually, but still you feel that it's not the most comfortable suspension, although this one here is equipped with the optional DCC. You definitely have to go for the optional DCC. The standard suspension then will be too stiff, unless you really just appreciate this stiff, sporty suspension drive. But I would have expected a little bit more comfort here with 18-inch wheels together with the DCC in the normal mode. Of course, here with the mode selector, if you go then again for the sports mode, yeah, keeping it in the low gear is for everyday driving life sometimes a little bit annoying. Then that's more fun than when you have like sporty roads and so on. The steering feedback changes a little bit, but you can also set it in the individual mode that, for example, you just want to have the steering feedback a little bit differently, for example. It's not like a world difference if you compare it to the predecessor, so it feels more or less the same. That also accounts for the new Golf gen. So the new Golf 8 comparison to the Golf 7. I mean, you do feel some subtle differences definitely, but it's not that it's driving wise completely different. I mean, this car here, the Octavia, it drives really well, also already in the base version. To me, also in normal driving situations, the steering feeling is really nice, that it's very precise, you don't have to steer that much, progressive steering, that you don't have to, turn it all the way around. It's also good for parking in and out and so on. Visibility is, although I have the hatch today here, or sedan or fastback, however you want to call it, it's actually quite good, so can't complain about that. Blind spot monitor is of course a very helpful feature, which is integrated in the side mirrors, so because the B-pillar is actually quite thick. So, and about the fuel economy, when you drive it rather slowly or collected, about 8 liters on 1 kilometers you have to calculate with. So about 29 mpg US, 35 mpg UK. And of course, the fuel economy will be worse if you really use that power you have than in the sports mode and so on. But you can also drive it rather calmly here in your normal driving life. No doubt about that. And you see it now when I come into the next roundabout. Then you can once again see how do I turn the steering wheel and how is the corner, and it is almost aligned. And I really like it when the degrees from the corner and the steering input is almost aligned. That's definitely really cool. It feels and looks somewhat premium, definitely, also here with the microfiber surfaces, for example, and all the new software or user interface. It looks so cool and fancy, but then controlling it while driving, once again, is more complicated than before. If I want to change the climate, something, oh, here's the hotkey for the climate menu, then here plus minus. It's maybe a little bit better than in the Golf with these sliders here, but we have the temperature slider only. Or when I activate the, I always have to look at it, you know. So again, if you're someone 22 degrees Celsius and just leave it on auto, that's fine, then won't be annoyed by that. But other car drivers like me who like to change something, temperature, blower wise, AC on off from time to time, that is really hindering the experience as for this aspect, definitely. Once again, a little bit more on the motorway for like a short acceleration and mode selector, and you know, can't click it through, have to click it and then click on sport. It's also not the best experience. 50. That's 90. Yeah, so you see the power is always there. Great when you accelerate on the motorway. You can also use the shifting pedals, of course, that have a very nice sporty form, really enjoyable. And then you can go back to the, go back to the normal mode. Talking about assistant systems, yeah, the blind spot monitor is really nice, definitely, which will appear in the side mirror. I assume I'm going to show you that. Then there is the lane keeping assist, which is quite annoying. So it does interfere a lot, and it's not the smoothest one. So not too happy about that. Activate cruise control in here with the separate column left next to the steering wheel. Now we're getting into this construction lane, and let's see how the cruise control is doing here. And also the lane keeping assist says green, so it should be on. Yeah, it's catching it. So at the moment I'm not steering, just keeping my hands on the steering wheel how it's supposed to be. Now the ACC is reducing the speed. Please drive in the center of the lane. I'm doing that. Okay, now it has cancelled it. And also this traffic sign recognition thought it was 60 because it's on the other side of the lane, but it's 80 here actually. So now once again, cruise control set. One in front of me also probably didn't realize it was still 80 kilometers an hour speed limit here. Now lane assist is not catching that one. So here in this construction site, we always can do very good tests, you know, about that, because some side assists, they actually work everywhere, and some only when you have like the proper wide lines here in Germany, for example, motorway, and not in the construction site. Here obviously not the best result, but it's also not like the worst assistant I have ever experienced. But when you use it over time, sometimes you think, that's a little bit too much interference, and then I want to deactivate it. And the thing is here, when you have your right thumb clicking here on the steering wheel and then one click more here, then the lane assist is deactivated. So that's a very easy way to access it, and it's especially important because by regulatory reasons it has to be activated each time the car restarts. So then it's even more helpful that you have a very fast way to activate or deactivate it. So now this Mercedes here behind us makes the impression I must be very nervous and a little bit annoyed maybe. So I'm pretty sure when I go to the right lane, it will overtake me quite fastly on the left lane. I can show you the blind spot monitor. And here we go. There it is. So, and when I'm also using the turning indicator, then it's flashing. Passat GTE overtaking us now. So very helpful system, and also very nice as for the integration. Typical motorway speed 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour. Once again, the noise installation is good. I feel that this is also an improvement if you compare it to the predecessor. And once again here with the lane keeping assist. Let's see, it's still activated. Now it's active. Counter steering, a little bit more, keeping us in the lane. Yeah, that's so far well done. So far it can be quite relaxed, but here now already driving up. So although I'm relying on it, the car tells me then drive in the center of the lane. So it's not obviously wanting to, you know, take over the semi-automated control. This is our driving party of the Skoda Octavia RS or vRS for our friends in the UK. What do you think? Leave us your comments. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new generation of the Skoda Octavia RS, or vRS for our friends in the UK. Well, as you see, the exterior rather an evolution, but definitely a nice sporty design, especially for the RS version. And here in the sedan or hatch or fastback, however you want to call it, a nice, beautiful design, sportier of course, especially for this model, and also with the wing lip in the back. But you can still use it very well because you have a great opening of this fastback hatch, and you can almost use it as practical as with the estate vehicle. But there's still the Combi, of course, available also with this very engine. And I think it's still the engine to go for, the pure petrol engine in this case. The PHEV or the plug-in hybrid RS is not as powerful. The TDI is almost as fast, so it doesn't make too much difference in the acceleration, but still the pure petrol engine is probably still the one to go for. The interior quality is actually also quite good. The sport seats are very nice, especially even better with the pure fabric setup without the animal skin surface. So this new thermoflux material will be very interesting, although the microfiber of course looks fancy here, but still keep it a little bit cheaper and go for the base seat that comes with the RS. The user interface is more complicated than before. It looks fancier, but it's definitely harder to control it, especially while driving, and the GPS is slower than before. This is the downside of this new generation. Everything else really good. As for the chassis, a lot of sporty driving fun. This is one of the best examples for a car that you can use every day for almost everything, and then still have a nice sporty vehicle with a lot of fun. So these are our impressions for today. Please also join us next time and leave us your comments what you think about the all-new Skoda Octavia RS. See you in the comment section.